Recording. All right. Today our topic today is what's going on? What's the issue now?
Nowadays.
Now we are not getting married. Marriage is something of the past, it seems like. Children, people are not in a rush to have kids anymore. Relationships, things like that. We are not seeing those things. People are very independent, more independent
Extremely. Women are opting out of marriage. They doing their own thing and not even considering marriage.
Yep, exactly.
Sorry, I wanted to interject that.
Oh, yes. So what is happening? What are we doing? What is the difference? What do you think is happening? So if you guys have some comments, please, as always, share your comments with us. I know it's early, so we might not have that many people on
and
to share
Sunday.
your comments. And it's Sunday, so people probably at church.
Paying your tithes. We'll leave that up for y'all to decide why we're not at church. God bless. I'm a part of the flower. God bless. Erin, she's okay. Well, no, I think Erin is like in her early 20s.
Early? Okay.
Yeah,
I'm a part of the problem too, Erin. So,
she's pretty like you. Her hair come down here too.
Okay.
She's gorgeous.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you, Steve gonna big up the women in his family, boy. You go bet that.
You better know it.
So, okay, so statistics show that the childbirthing is lower than it's been since the baby boom was age.
Wow.
Okay, so we are not having children like we used to.
Do you have numbers?
No.
Okay.
Don't put me on the spot.
I'm sorry. I know she does her preparation.
I do, but I don't like throwing out numbers unless I have it written down because I forget.
I understood.
So yes, it's lower than it's been. So we're trying to figure out why. So I'm thinking my suggestion is that it's the economy. The economy is not built for people to have children like they were before.
So do you really think that's what because if you think about it, in my mom's era and in her mom's era, money was probably more so an issue back then, and they were having 14, 15, 16 kids,
Right.
And then sometimes they had that nucleus of family, and then the husband sometimes had families outside of that. So they had a lot of kids, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not sure if money is a factor or was the issue.
So now go back to those days. Having a house was more simple.
People were way cheaper.
Way cheaper. People were building their houses.
True.
Having land. Land was a lot of times in the South. Land was passed down from family members or plots, bigger plots. Like my granddaddy,
Ugogs and land.
Sloan Gordon Sr. Shout out to Granddaddy.
Grandpa.
He actually lives on land that is. Cheers. We got different drinks today. He actually lives on land that is Gordon land. So if you're not a Gordon, you can't purchase land there. Okay?
You do the same thing.
Yeah. So, and the crazy thing about that is it's in an area that no one really wants to live because the area is so rural that there's really nothing around.
Gotcha.
So but years ago, I mean, this rural area might have been what it was, and my granddaddy has 2 houses on this land, and it's like about a 2-block span or whatever, something like that. So it was easier to purchase homes. So you can get a house with 3 bedrooms, build a house with 3 bedrooms, and have your 6 kids in there, or 4 bedrooms, and you're not really paying rent like we're paying, or mortgage or taxes like we're paying now.
Yeah. Well, I guess at that time the economy was set for that time, for that specific time. So, of course, it wasn't as expensive as things are now because, what they were being paid wasn't much.
Right.
So everything pretty much was leveled off. But I don't know. Back then, I do believe that the country was more, not so much more conservative, but they held certain religious beliefs.
Right.
And those beliefs were, especially when it involves families and marriage and stuff, it was imperative that people at a certain age get married.
Right.
They were like, because anything outside of that was considered fornication, and because of being in the Bible Belt or some type of Christian kind of thinking, it was imposed upon you to be married at a certain age. And what do you do when you are married at a certain age and don't have a TV? You have 15 kids.
Not no TV.
Nothing to do. You know what I'm saying? So people engage and they just have kids. And think about it this way. I'm not too sure, but what were the contraceptives back then?
Right.
I didn't even think about that, Shanae.
I don't know.
I don't even think word. Pull out. Like, get off.
These granddaddies pull-out game is weak.
Sure.
It's weak. They ain't know about it.
Oh my God. Get off me. I don't want no kids.
Right. Color Purple, how he die.
On top of me. Right.
So I mean, this is what it is. But also now in the economy,
I think she mind. I don't know if she mind.
I know.
I hope she mind.
Right. So now in the economy, like for instance, where I live, okay, my house that I own, I'm renting it out for $1,600 a month, right? So the woman that lives in the house in my house, she has one kid, but she's a traveling nurse, so she makes decent money. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom. It's on 0.83 acres of land. Like, it's a nice size house, but she only has one mouth to feed. So would she be able to support and maintain $1,600 plus nothing is included? So she's paying all utilities and making sure her daughter's okay. She got 2 cars. Like, those type of things are difficult when you have more than one child. And in saying that, everybody doesn't want to feed off of the government. So I know people that have a ton load of kids, but then they're stuck in their thought process that I don't want to do better because then my assistance is going to get taken away. So now when you're talking about people like me, I looked at food stamps. You can't make more than $1,300 a month
right
to get food stamps. I was telling my mother that because I was telling her, and for 2 people, for her and Mooch, is like you can't make more than $1,888. She took about, well, I thank God I make more than $1,888.
and still, right, that's like, but a good point that you brought up as it relates to women nowadays. Women are so advanced as far as career is concerned, as far as education is concerned, and the reality is they do better in that market than most men do.
Yeah.
So there's not a void when it comes to finance. A lot of times with black women, I'm speaking of black women because I don't know specifically about white women or any other race.
I was about to say there's
right.
other races.
Other races, well, But the reality is, like, these women know how to go and make stuff happen for themselves. And guess what? They ain't dealing with no man's BS.
Nope. So that leads us from the kids into the marriage. Why aren't we getting married these days? And like Coach Steve led into it, we're not dealing with the nonsense and the BS anymore. There are women that just want a man, need that because they're lonely and stuff like that. But I'm going to tell you one thing. Like, my apartment that I live in, I can't fit no man in here.
Yeah, I should see this place.
I'm not fitting a man in here. Like, it's nice
it's
and
too
cozy.
Small, is what you mean?
Yeah, it's like perfect for me. But if I had another person in here, like, where would his clothes go? Like, shoes, stuff like that. I just don't have enough space.
Yeah, but I think, you would make accommodations if that were the case. I know you. So if something goes down when she gets into a real committed situation, she's gonna be up out of here. She's gonna get something bigger.
Oh yeah, I would be out of here.
Yeah, you're gonna get something bigger.
And I've lived in.
And the kid, I mean,
who?
If a kid was around or happens to happen, then I mean, hypothetically speaking,
I would have to move.
You would have to move. It's too small.
Or a nursery.
Yeah.
So yes, I would have to move, which is why you make preparations. But like you said, a man is not going to. A man is just a bonus for me at this age, and I'm 33 years old. I'll be 34 next month, in less than a month. You never responded to my
I did.
birthday invitation.
I did. You look at your text. I did. See.
Next month is
the
my
19th.
birthday. December 19th.
Exactly.
I'll be 34 years old. And,
no, she's gonna be 34. So back to what you say, because I gotta say this because I don't want to lose it. You just said when women are not getting married because, and you said it's a bonus. Because the reality is, back in the day, it was frowned upon if you weren't married and you were still having sex. Women still have sex.
And don't need them.
And don't need the ring necessarily.
Don't need it.
So they're not void of that whole experience. What they are void of is all the silliness and the nonsense associated with having some knucklehead that ain't doing the right thing. It's like, I got my own money. I make my own bread. You come in here with the sausage and then go home.
Daddy, would you like some sausage?
Clearly. I don't know. I mean, so it's just different. Like, I think women look at. I have a sister on the financial status. She don't need no man.
Right.
Especially that's not matching where she is. And then sometimes that's a challenge. Men are so afraid because women are making so much more. You know what I'm saying? So that's a threat to their manhood, so to speak.
Yeah.
So.
And they don't see, but then us females, we have gotten to a cocky stage as well. And I can say that as a woman, because it's like some men don't make the same amount. Like I have three and a half different sources of income. Okay. So I'm working towards my 7, right? But I have 3.5 different. I can't expect every man to have 3 sources of income, right? So if he has a 9 to 5, like I watched something the other day, it was like a guy walking around a college campus asking, women, do you want a drug dealer, a scammer, or a 9 to 5 worker? Out of about 50 women, no lie, only one said 9 to 5 worker.
Wow.
One. And it was and it's literally because I need money, he needs to buy me, and I'm like, but at what expense though? So if you have a scammer, you better be careful because he might scam you at some point. And then if you have a drug dealer, then you gotta watch out. You don't know what he got, who's following him, right. Things like that. And people always think they low until they're not. Like my best friend back in the day, if y'all know him, it's funny now. But I went to the grocery store and he was with a female, and I went to the grocery store and literally the newspaper said in bed with the dealer. Both of their faces on the front of the newspaper. She lost her job, all of this stuff. When is it worth it? It's not. So the money comes fast, but I learned a long time ago, and that same best friend told me once finances comes off the table, you will have better and more successful relationships because you're not looking nor needing anything from that person. Yeah. So when you don't ask, you're not disappointed. And when you're not disappointed, your relationship can flourish a little more because you're not looking for anything.
Absolutely. And then it also depends on the caliber of person that you're inquiring some of those questions, because drug dealer wouldn't even be a factor. A lot of people I know wouldn't even consider dating a drug dealer because that welcomes a lot of...
Hey, Shanae, whoever you are.
Hey, Shanae. So it welcomes a lot of unnecessary stuff that certain women are just not willing to deal with.
No.
So, of course, to me, I know most women I know will prefer a 9 to 5 kind of guy. But at the same time, they want a guy who matches where they are financially. If you're making $100,000 and you're dating a guy that works at White Castle, that's not going to work. No. That's going to be very difficult because it does something to his ego, and it definitely does something to yours because you're not willing to deal with that kind of financial status or lack thereof, because in reality, that's really what it is. Right. So women are weighing all of that. Lack of money, lack of resource, lack of jobs, all of those kinds of things. And they're like, and then you're going to harass me about what I do, what I don't do. So I would prefer not to have somebody like that. or have a guy in my life just for the sake of having somebody in my life.
Right. So I think that's where we are right now. Mm-hmm. So, and then for men, what do you think? Now that's the woman's point of view. So what do you think it is that men are no longer looking for or making that move of marriage?
And that's a good question, and I want you guys to answer that if you can. I'm going to attempt to answer it, but if you guys, the question was, why are guys reluctant to getting married, as opposed to how it was, decades ago when my mom was coming up and my dad was coming up. They thought it was extremely important. Hey, Darnita, my love, listen, I hope you're taking care of yourself. That's my girl. She travels all over the world. Does it. The singer extraordinary.
All right.
Crazy.
And say, hey, Clarence. I seen you say, hey, sorry.
Yeah. So they got married back then. So which is different now, definitely. So my thing is, I think it's because men are not willing to commit the way our dads did and our granddads did. It's more about, having fun.
She said people don't want to commit.
People don't want to commit. I promise that's exactly what it is, Donita. I agree. They just don't want to commit. They still want to have fun, meaning want to have fun. Exactly. They want to do that. They want to have sex. They want to meet people. And then think about this. A lot of people, although we still are connected to the church, they're not so committed to following the rules and regulations, in the church. So they're dating these girls, having fun with these girls, and that's all they basically want to do. Right. It's not about wanting that desire to have a family is not something. What
she said? Eat their cake and ice cream.
Pretty much cake and ice cream, preferably Breyers, chocolate.
Breyers has the least extra ingredients.
Let me tell you. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's really what it is. I agree with Darnita and I agree with Shanae. It's definitely about
nothing to do with the gender.
Totally agree.
Yeah, I don't.
Totally agree, Donita.
See, and that's the thing, because as a woman, we say who chases who, right? Does the man chase the woman or the woman chase the man? And it has been said, and I read something that showed a different perspective. It has been said that men chase women, but in all actuality, what I read, which I agree with, is that women actually chase men, because women are looking for a man to pop that question or to be the head of the household or to do this. So we do all of these things, fix ourselves up, look pretty, implants, breast. What are we doing that for? That's not for, we're not doing that for other women. Right. We're doing that for men to try to catch their attention. So women chase men. And now that women are chasing men, which is opposite than what it used to be, because men used to chase women. I think before men were working, most men were having like iron workers, things like railroad workers, blue collar workers, and they were doing 12-hour shifts and stuff like that. So if they wanted children and they wanted to reproduce, they needed a wife home. They needed a woman home, because they can't. It was no way. They needed the convenience of being able to come home and see their kids.
Good point.
And having to pick them up, and they couldn't do that.
So the culture has changed.
Shifted.
There were specific roles for a specific gender. Right. The men will go out, do the hard work, like you said, 12 hours, 16-hour days, and the women were home doing the domestic work. Now the roles have completely changed. Wait, let me say it better. It's not that the roles have changed. It's now because the women now have engaged in the work environment because they had to, because of how expensive things are. So it requires not a one income household, it requires two incomes. So women are working just as hard as the men are. But they don't want to be responsible to take care of their obligations. Exactly. They don't want to submit or obey. Exactly.
Right.
I agree. And Shanae said, I agree. It's changed.
It's changed drastically. So that's where we are right now. And unfortunately, with this dynamic that the world is going is revolving around now. We are going to have less births of children because people are not willing to take that leap. Now, again, there are some people that, and I'm gonna more say low income, or super high income people that have multiple kids. But middle class people like us, we don't have multiple kids because we know the understanding of financial stability and know that children are not in the realm of having financial stability when you're not getting any assistance. So there's no way, and even with my 3 streams of income, I can afford right now 1 child comfortably, knowing that I would be able to pay all my bills, pay all my bills. Sorry, I just got a message. Pay all my bills. Make sure my child is okay. If I want my child to be in extracurricular activities, things like that, all of that costs money. So when you're thinking about it logically and you're at this level and you're not in a rush, then you can make these conscious decisions. What can I do comfortably? Comfortably for me, and not having a husband or anything, comfortably for me, I can comfortably take care of 1 kid. 2 kids would be too much if I'm not in a relationship or a marriage or anything. But like I said, when you're in a low income situation and you have like public housing or Section 8, nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying when you have those things, you're not thinking about, you know, that if you pop out another kid, they're just gonna boost the number of rooms that you have. I don't have 1 now, I got 2. Okay, so your Section 8 turns from one bedroom to a 2-bedroom. Like,
so you know what? See, I think what you're saying is, and I think it's very true, people nowadays are more pragmatic. They're thinking about having kids before having them.
Right.
They're considering how it's going to affect them financially versus back then they would have kids. They have kids, and they didn't even factor in how they were going to be taken care of. Back then it was the Lord will make a way.
The Lord.
Yeah. You know, so they wasn't even thinking about it. It was just a routine. You got married and you have kids. I don't even think it was a discussion back then. Oh, baby, we done got 6. I think we need to stop. Oh, baby, I think we got 7. I think we need to stop. Nowhere in the thing. It's all in choosing the proper career that never loses in financial growth. Right. No matter what the situation. Very good.
But see, totally that goes back to middle class workers, right? Because we're not rich, but we're in the career where we know it's financial growth. We can keep progressing, and we can sustain having children. But even again, in this middle class work, more times than none, you have 1 to 2 children households. You in your middle class, you don't have 4, 5, 6, 7 kids because again, like you said, it's a process, more pragmatic. If I have 6 kids, where would that put me?
Right.
So you know, now we're at a place. I'm not interested.
Right.
I'm not interested.
But that's what I'm saying. But see, y'all, I'm not, and don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to be rude in any way.
Right.
But nowadays, I think, like Shanae, y'all think about those kinds of things before you actually get in it. You know, a lot of when people come together nowadays, husband and wives, they're talking about, okay, I want to just have 2 kids. And they say they want to have 2 kids. As opposed to back then, they just be like, kids. Wasn't even thinking about it. But nowadays, they're trying to match what they have with the finance that they have. Right. Which is smart. So that's the reason why we're operating differently as opposed to how they did it way back when.
Keep pointing to me.
I'm sorry. I mean, way back when.
So I'm just, you know, even though those of you that do know me, I was supposed to get married last year or whatever, and I didn't. And I took some time off to like rethink and kind of get myself back together on just me. And I'm finally at a point, and I think people don't understand that there's so many opportunities in the world that getting married is not necessarily on the top of the list. So
good.
One of my friends just joined in, Mike. We was having this conversation the other day about business and being with somebody that can be a business partner. Can you grow with this person? And a lot of times people are not bringing it back to the Bible equally yoked. So now my mentality is, oh, I need stocks, I need investment, I need to have multiple streams of income, I need to do this, I need to do that, and then you might have a man that is either that way or not. He's good with going to work. Like I have someone else that I used to date a while ago, and I'm not going to say the person or what the profession is, but he was in a profession and I asked him, does he want to progress? The profession that he's in, he could progress about 3-4 more tiers. He's been in this job for almost 20 years and is still in the same position.
Oh, wow.
To me, your pay is going up, but your mentality is stuck.
Hasn't changed, yeah.
You're stuck in this position where you're content, and content is never enough for me, because content is when I can choose whether or not I want to go to work today. That's content for me. If I and still get paid whether I sleep in or not. So until I get to that level of contentment, we don't match.
Right.
We don't match.
Right,
so I'm at a point where marriage means
is not even
nothing.
Yeah.
I said we look at Middle Eastern countries.
That's good.
Middle Eastern countries, they're not getting married because of love, and we look at it as backwards.
What? Come on, Shanae, hallelujah.
Their
like
families
I'm in
are
church.
looking at
That's
it like,
good.
what can your family bring my family? And
And it's not even about love. It's not about that whole attraction thing. I was attracted to you.
Right.
I fell in love with. It's about whether or not you can take care of me and my doggone kids.
I fell in lust.
Right.
With you.
Right.
That's what it is. That's what it is. It's falling in lust, and you make lust work, and that's why it doesn't work when it's lust. So now we're getting married. Back in the day, we're getting married, and now I done had kids with somebody else, or I done slept with somebody else, or this and this and this. Why? Because you fell in lust with somebody, you made it convenient for yourself because you had kids with this person, and then like you said, you had 5-6 kids. I'm not going nowhere. Where I'm going with 6 kids. So now I'm
stuck. Oh my Lord.
And you made stuck work.
And you never factored any of that stuff in. It was just all about doing it because you felt like this was God's way or your belief system. So you had to do it this way. Nowadays, people are a little bit wiser, and they're approaching this from a different perspective. Yeah. They're realizing whoever you marry, even in the spiritual side, that we are a part of failing ministry and marriage building, it broke that same poverty. I know some people who are making more money in the pandemic than before. It's all priorities, and yeah, that's true too. Yeah. So it's I don't know. It's I love what you just said. That was very, very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, because other countries do function like that. It's not about, you know what I'm saying, falling in love or whatever the case may be. It's making sure you pick or select a partner that's going to be financially stable, that thinks the way you think. You may have somebody that want to live in the ghetto. I don't want to live like that. I want to live on a hill and have a big home. So people nowadays are factoring all that kind of stuff in. Yeah. Is extremely important. So wow.
Yeah.
That's good. On that note, I need some wine. It is communion.
Oh.
Ain't it? Oh, no.
No, it ain't. Communion is
it's ginger ale.
The second.
Okay.
I don't know. I ain't been to church in a year.
Me either. Pandemic.
What? What Sunday is it, y'all? Y'all's church goers. So this was like I said, an important topic because it's like we're put in a position where it makes us feel women like when we don't have children, and I read ignorant comments on Facebook. If you don't have children by now and you're in your 30s, then something's wrong and all of that stuff. And no, because I'm at the first point in my life where I feel like I can have a child. I haven't been at a point yet where I felt like I was comfortable enough to bring a child into the world.
Wow.
And honestly, I've never been in a position where I was actually trying to have a kid. Literally, like, I'm ovulating, let's go. Or my temperature is 98 point, whatever the crazy stuff. I haven't been at a point where I was clocking pregnancy, and I've never been at a point where I wanted to have a baby by mistake. So all of these things that you think about when you're in life and you're dating, it's like, can I see myself dealing with you for the rest of my life? And people always worried about STDs. Unless it's HIV, everything else you could get rid of. You can't get rid of a baby. I mean, unless you do, but you're stuck for 18 years, and that's for men because it's not your choice, right? So the woman makes the choice to keep it. You're worried about a STD, and I don't have an STD, so you're good. And now we like, then I get pregnant, and you never could look at me as a wife, but now I'm the mother of your child. Now we're in court. Now we got all of these things going on because you never looked at me for longevity. It was just a thing at that moment, wow. And I was cute, but then my attitude kicks in when this baby is born, and you don't want to deal with that. Exactly. Wow. So we're in a society where we have options. And I'm okay with my option, and I want people to be okay with the options that people are making. Maybe I don't want to be married, which I don't, but maybe I don't want to be married, and that's okay. And I explained it to my mom. My mom was like, "Oh, I want you to be married before you have children. I don't want you to be a single mom." And I'm like, "But what if that's not what I want?"
But then that's what society does. Society they impose their beliefs on you. Until you can say to yourself that, hey, that's not what I want to do. It's actually kind of brazen, and it's kind of courageous for you to have your own mindset and say, well, I'm not going to do it that way because you guys did it that way. I actually respect a person that thoroughly thinks about things before they engage in it, and not do things because this is what society does or this is what the culture does. You know, for you to say, I'm not going to get married just because this is the normal way of living, you know, according to some belief systems, according to some religious beliefs and so on and so forth. For you to say, I'm going to do it this way, I think is extremely courageous. And it's also very intelligent, you know, very wise of you to factor in all of those things that you just discussed and say, well, now I'm not ready. Right. And I'm not willing to engage in a situation where, you know, I'm not financially ready. I'm not mentally ready. I'm not spiritually ready. And like you said, now, because I'm not doing it that way. Hi, auntie. You're not doing it that way. And, you know, now you're really seeing whether or not a guy really wants to be with you. It is not just, you know, for the moment. Right. You know what I'm saying? We have sex, it is what it is, and then you just move on. Yeah, that's what do I need to say? I know she going in.
She said the parenting doesn't stop when 18. I said 18 because you don't have to do things together. Now, funny that you said 18 because my father, for whatever reason, hates my mother. I don't know why he hates my mother, but he hates her with a passion, and it's so weird. I'm like, Daddy, your issues are over 20 years. 20 years old. He took them out. Older than that. So why you still mad, sir? 30 years later. But anyway, he told me a lot of crazy stuff. But anyway, one of the things he told me was that he's never going to be in a place where my mother is. And I told him, I said, well, my mother is never going to be never not going to be in a place that I am. That's weddings, baby showers, gender reveals, engagement parties, bridal whatever the situation is, my mama going to be there. So guess what? You're not. Unless you want to double everything up for me and pay for it yourself, then you're just not invited to anything. Right. You're invited, but you're not coming to anything because my mother is going to be there. So yes, you're correct. It does go past 18, but I mean, as having to coexist together and spend money together and stuff like that, you don't necessarily have to do that.
Maybe after high school, they leave high school and go to college and
and they might do their own thing. And
but it's a lifetime.
So it's one of those situations, but like I said, getting married is not a thing. And I know somebody that got married, and I know a couple of things that they're still doing that I'm kind of thinking, what did you get married for, sir? Like, what did you get married for? You know, it's just one of those things. So to me, it's like, do I want to get married just for show? And the answer is no. No. Absolutely not. I don't want to get married just for show. I could have been married 3 times already. I break up with people. I leave people because I'm just not settling.
She lying. She lying.
I'm okay because everything that I have I got on my own. Mm-hmm. Every last thing. Only thing somebody ever got me was my first car, Ford Explorer. My ex got me that. That was it. Everything else I worked for. I was 19. Everything else since then I have on my own. Every apartment, every car, everything. I don't ask people for anything, and I do it by myself.
What have I ever asked you for? Not even your sorry ass hand in marriage.
Period. Never asked you for that. Never asked you for that. Right. So, but yes, you guys are right. Thank you. We try to get some good, entertaining conversations. Things that people talk about on those random conversations on the phone, and like, well, why are you not married? And then it turned into 2 hours. So we try to bring that to you in 30 minutes. Get some
feedback from you guys. You guys gave us some awesome feedback. Awesome feedback.
So we are going to skip next week because next week is Thanksgiving. We're actually going to take pictures for our podcast, and then we'll be back the following weekend.
Coach Steve.
After that, True Sag, we'll be back. Hold on. Let me get our topic so we can tell them now.
Okay. And then we'll also put it on Facebook as well. I said I wanted to do that this week. I actually let you guys know a couple minutes before we got on, but we're going to do better about promoting and letting you guys know what we're talking about, when and where, and how you can actually engage in conversation with us.
Okay. So we just did this, dealing with social norms. We did this.
So we're going to be talking about next.
That one is the
police reform. Oh, Lord.
So we're talking about police reform. So I know a lot of people want to
Rittenhouse.
Right, that's what I'm about to say. Now that we've seen Kyle Rittenhouse with the...
yeah, actor extraordinaire. He should have been acting after he picked up the soap when they put his ass in jail.
Look, because we need to get into it.
Darnita know me. Oh, Lord, help us today.
Yes, look. I want you to get your auntie, uncles, cousins, brothers. We all need to be on here next time because this is ridiculous, and I'm always down to get down. You feel me? I
didn't think so. I sure enough didn't think so.
Look, so that is what's that date?
That's going to the week after?
Yeah, that's the 5th.
Yeah, something like that.
I think it's December 5th, something like that. So make sure you join us December 5th.
Police reform. Y'all heard it. So we're going to talk about the Rittenhouse thing. And God forbid, if the Arbery case, if them suckers get off.
Oh, we have everybody on here. Everybody need to get on here.
Yes.
My brother called me from school like, Rittenhouse got acquitted. And I'm like, he was pissed, like the middle of his school day. And I'm like, I say, yeah, I know, but this is the society we live in. So
don't get your guns.
Look, I got 2. I only got 2 hands, so I don't feel a reason for another one. I just get an extended clip. I know. So make sure y'all join us December 5th. Mm-hmm. Again, we're skipping next week. We appreciate it. Police reform is our next topic, so get your opinions ready. We're going to try to do it afternoon time.
Oh,
hopefully Saturday.
Okay, on the side, that's good.
TTWTS. Somebody got to get out the way for the 3 o'clock slot on Saturday.
I should have told another name. TTLS.
Y'all need to get out the slot.
What did they say?
We about to hang up, Auntie Lon.
Auntie Lon! What Auntie Lon saying?
She wanted to join the live. We about to hang up. We only do 30 minutes. We got 2 minutes
We'll
left.
let you know next week when we on for you to come in. Then we'll bring you on to the live.
Yes.
But make sure you come back, Auntie.
Yes. So it'll be December 5th. She said, hey, Steve. That's Yolanda.
Oh, Yolanda. Hey, dog.
December 5th, 3 o'clock is the time. We're going to try to stick to that time between 3 and 4, hopefully, because I feel like a lot of y'all will be either that or Sunday between 3 and 4. Either one, so people could. Yeah.
Well, she's driving to my house anyway, so it don't matter.
All right, y'all. Peace out. Thank you so much.
Thank y'all for y'all.